What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I want to talk to you guys today about discrimination in the sport of boxing. You know, there's all types of discrimination. You know, the blatant discrimination against, race and age and gender. You know, we have those things going on, but especially in the sport of boxing, a lot of people like to point out things or like to show their expression of something that discriminates against a certain group of people. Well, one thing that people don't really point out, and something I have to share with you guys, is the discrimination against Cuban fighters. Think about this. What does Luis Ortiz, what does Erislandy Lara, what does Yordenis Ugas, what do these guys have all in common? They're all Cuban fighters that had a bad shake or a bad experience where they were discriminated against, and I feel they were because they were Cuban fighters, because they weren't primarily American fighters. They fight in America now. That should be good enough, but I think because they don't have the backing, they don't have the exposure, and they don't have that power, that star power, than other fighters like Mexican fighters and a lot of black fighters have, African American fighters I'm referring to. I think because of that, they fall through the cracks. All of these guys fight on the PBC banner, okay? Probably the one that is more successful is Erislandy Lara, then Luis Ortiz, then Yordenis Ugas. Yordenis Ugas is that sleeping giant. The guy that has 3 losses on his record that if you look at him fight, you wonder how the hell did they get there, because he's one hell of a fighter. He showed Shawn Porter what was up. Shawn Porter was knocked down in the 12th round. They ruled it a slip, people. You know what I mean? Those type of things, they are, in my book, in my opinion, they are very strategic pawns. They're used as pawns simply because they're tough, skilled fighters. They do just enough to make a challenge for the guy that they're trying to catapult to the star status. Think about it. Look at Erislandy Lara and Canelo Alvarez. That fight was close. That fight was a split decision. A lot of people thought Lara won. I thought he won, and that was a fight that, like Triple G, funny, nobody wanted to run that back. Not De La Hoya, not Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez said, he was running, and he was running because you couldn't hit him, or he was running and hitting you more than you were hitting him. Those type of things. But what was the fight projected for him to fight at the time? Mind you, this was 2014 of July, okay? Now, the fight that people wanted to see was the Miguel Cotto versus Canelo Alvarez fight. So the powers that be would not allow a fight to that magnitude to be stopped by a Cuban. No. Look at Yordenis Ugas. What was the big fight for Shawn Porter? Was against Earl Spence, right? Which now it seems like Earl Spence, we don't know what he's going to do. But Shawn Porter was one of the top PBC fighters. So I'd be damned he's going to let someone like Ugas win a decision. Luis Ortiz, another guy. He fought Wilder. Wilder knocked him out. But look at the circumstances, people. Look at how that fight was refereed. That fight was not refereed in favor of Ortiz. Ortiz didn't have a fair shake. And if he had a strong enough corner that knew how to speak up and knew the fucking rules of boxing, they knew he couldn't paw with that jab like he was doing as a rangefinder and stick it out there and hold it out there like he was doing, hitting behind the head, throwing him into the ropes. Of course, I did a video exclusively on that, so if you guys seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But that fight, giving this guy 30 seconds to recover when there was nothing wrong with him. They just let him on the side and looked at his face like there was no cuts, no swells, no bruising, nothing. You don't do that. Even Paulo Malignaggi said it himself, like, okay, what are they doing? They can't do that. They can't stop the fight for no fucking reason, and that's exactly what they did, right? Sure, Wilder, with the heart and determination, yeah, he had fucking 3 minutes and 30 seconds in round 8 to recover, all around 9 to recover, because by then, Luis Ortiz had punched himself out, okay? Maybe age had caught up with him. He thought he could do more at that time. He thought he had Wilder out of there, and especially when he was attacking Wilder. Okay, did you see the referee break that up when Wilder was hanging all over Luis Ortiz? Not one fucking time. He didn't do that one time simply because he wanted to give Wilder all the time that he needed because he was the referee. He was meant to referee in favor of Wilder. So these are the 3 examples I wanted to share with you guys with these fighters. And these fighters just so happen to be Cuban. You know what I mean? I don't buy it. I think that people don't really talk about it a lot because, you know, a lot of the Cuban fighters, you know, they want to make us say, oh, he's happy, or they're just fortunate to be here fighting, you know, and making money for their family, and they've overcome triumph for getting here, and they've overcome, you know, poverty and you know, and discrimination in Cuba. Well, they come there, but have to have that same discrimination here. You know, Ugas won that fight against Porter. Erislandy Lara beat Canelo. But since those guys had bigger fights in the midst, in the plans, those fights weren't going to be ruled in their favor. And I just had to punch, I had to count that out. I had to counterpunch that. I had to point out that this particular problem is really overlooked when it comes to Cuban fighters. No, it's a lot of fighters that could, like Lara, he could have been superstar. He could have fought Mayweather, but they didn't want to market him like that. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to just, hey, give everybody, just let everyone know, hey, well, you know, they're doing good. Erislandy Lara, he's making good money, you know, yada, yada, yada. But in the grand scheme of things, these guys should have a fair shake. I think it needs to be addressed. That's why I'm addressing it on this channel, because I feel that they don't get a fair shake a lot of times, where we see countless and countless decisions are going wrong, right? And it's too big of a coincidence to know all these guys are Cuban and none of these guys had a fair shake. Look at Lara and Paul Williams, right? That was another fucked up fight, right? Now, the Lara Heard, he actually lost because time is catching up with Lara, I feel. He can't move the way he used to. He can't react the way he used to, but he was one of my top boxers. See, he was a pure boxer. Okay, Ortiz is a counterpuncher with a southpaw, and all these guys are southpaws. All these guys are tricky, skilled southpaws that has that Cuban pedigree, but I feel that they should have a fair shake like everyone else. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about this video. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace.